Today's Midday Kentucky cooking segment brought to you by Creative Kitchen and Bath, where you will always cook in style.
Welcome back to Midday Kentucky. Chef Allison Davis here at the Wild Time Kitchen here in Lexington, and I am cooking up another summer produce. This is my favorite time of year, along with fall, because there's so much harvest and vegetables and produce that goes from now until probably early October. And so one thing that we're still seeing, we're starting to get to the end of the season, but is rhubarb. And I love rhubarb because if you are like me, one of my favorite candies is Sour Patch Kids, and I almost think this it has that reminiscent of that Sour Patch Kids because it's a tart and sour kind of fruit or vegetable, but when you add it in with fruits like strawberries and blueberries, it's just a perfect pairing. What we're going to do today, though, is a little different, and this is a recipe that's new to me, but we are going to make a rhubarb mousse. So I've taken the rhubarb and I just basically sliced it just into some small or medium dice pieces, just like that. And then what I have been doing here is I have some apple juice in with the rhubarb, and that is boiling, and it's just softening up the rhubarb and cooking it, and the apple juice just adds a nice sweetness to it to kind of help balance that tart flavor that the rhubarb has. Now what's going to go with this is we're going to separate some eggs, so I just wanted to show you that because we actually are creating the mousse in a couple of layers and steps. So we take our eggs, and I'm separating our egg whites from our egg yolks, and so I typically will just kind of do it vertically and then just allow it to separate. All right, we're going to do another one here, and you'll see how we'll use that here in just a little bit, but you want to keep it separate because we're actually going to take the egg whites, and those are going to go into a separate bowl, and we're going to whisk those to kind of a stiff peak. You can do it by hand or you could do a mixer, but with it only being a few and very small, it should whisk up pretty quickly. It's a lot louder than I anticipated. So I'm going to come back to that, but as you keep whisking, you're going to keep getting it nice and frothy, and then once it goes from that frothy state, it's going to go to more of a stiff peak. I also have a hand mixer that we'll use as well. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to take our rhubarb mixture and we are going to put it in a blender, and we're going to make this a nice smooth puree. Okay, so we've got a lot of juice and liquid here happening, so we're going to take our rhubarb into our blender, and then we're going to add our egg yolks in with this. We're going to add a pinch of salt as well, a little bit of cinnamon, and some brown sugar. Okay. From there, we're going to add our egg yolks. I'm trying to let it cool just a little bit because those were kind of hot. And if we were to turn it on and just put the egg yolks right away, they would most likely scramble. So I'm just trying to smooth that down. I love my Vitamix. I don't know if you all have one at home, but if you do, it's well worth the investment. It is such a fantastic tool to getting a beautiful smooth puree. All right, so we're going to take that, and once we have this nice and pureed and smooth, it's going to go back onto the stove to help thicken just a little bit. Smelling great. I love the smell of that cinnamon. This is a little, I love the red rhubarb. This is a little bit green, so the color is not quite the bright red of some, which I would like to see more of that pink color. If you wanted, you could certainly probably add a couple of strawberries in here to give it that nice bright color. So we're going to thicken that up. And then what we're going to do is we are going to make some fresh whipped cream. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this in, and we're going to switch out our blender. Whipped cream with some vanilla extract, and basically create just a nice thick whipped cream, and it gets folded in. So I'm going to switch out our blender, and I'm going to use a hand mixer just for time's sake because that is going to work a lot faster than me whisking by hand. Oh, it came out of the plug. And then we are going to fold that in with our rhubarb mixture. So I'm going to go ahead and take our rhubarb mixture off of the heat, and we're going to make our whipped cream. If you have difficulty getting a peak to form with your whipped cream or your egg whites, you can always add a little cream of tartar, and then that will take care of it. All right, I'm going to finish this up, but I'm going to share this recipe on our website at wtbq.com/recipes. You can find me and more recipes on my Instagram at Chef Allison Davis. You can also find more information about Wild Time at our website at wildtimecooking.com. And we will be right back after this short break.
Today's cooking segment was brought to you by Creative Kitchen and Bath, where you will always cook in style.